Welcome to week 1 in the CFL season 2019. Two non-playoff participants will meet head-on in northern Alberta tonight. The hometown Eskimos and the visiting Montreal Alouettes.
And for the Eskimos, it's Ottawa West. Trevor Harris and Greg Ellingson among the off-season acquisitions. They bring with them some big numbers as they look, as the boys suggested, to fill some big shoes in that green and gold offense. For the Montreal Alouettes, they look to a new battery combination. Devere Posey, former Grey Cup MVP, most recently of the BC Lions, comes over via free agency to provide Antonio Pipkin and that big arm, the deep threat in the Alouette offense.
Kahari Jones, longtime assistant, former MOP in the CFL, makes his debut as a head coach tonight for the Montreal Alouettes, only a week into the job. Jason Moss back at the helm of the Eskimos. And the Eskimos have a 10-game win streak against the visiting Montreal Alouettes over the years. Behind him, you saw Trevor Harris. Talk about him. We'll talk about all the changes, including uniforms for the Alouettes, their new look. Jordan Robinson is back for the Eskimos. The Alouettes will kick this off 201 days after the 2018 season ended on this field with a Grey Cup game. These teams were not involved, but they're involved here tonight as we kick it off in Edmonton. And picking his way up to the 27-yard line is Jordan Robinson and the 33-year-old Trevor Harris in green and gold now, shedding the red and black. And he takes over from another CFL superstar. Mike Riley era is over in Edmonton.
Well, nothing new for Trevor Harris, a guy who was asked to replace Ricky Ray in Toronto, replaced Henry Burris in Ottawa. Now, as you mentioned, former MOP in Mike Riley. This is old hat for Trevor Harris. The stage won't be too big for him.
Expect to see a lot of Harris and 82 Greg Ellingson tonight. Harris looks to his left, and out of the backfield is the veteran Calvin McCarty, back for another season, gets a touch right out of the chute.
Calvin McCarty leading this team in seniority in his 13th year. Of course, the man who will be most watched in this Edmonton Eskimo offense, Greg Ellingson, coming off 4 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons in the nation's capital. Tommy Draheim gets the start at left tackle, a position that was expected to be filled by Sir Vincent Rogers.
C.J. Gable bashes for a first down. And this is something the Eskimos want to get rolling here. Offensively, a big strike offense last year.
Well, speaking of guys who are back for one more year, John Bowman, number 7.
Benjamin Button.
Among the league's all-time leaders in sacks. He knocked a monstrous season in the middle last year. He's flanked by 2 new wingmen in Bo Lacombo from BC, Patrick Levels from Calgary. And they brought in Taylor Loeffler via free agency from Winnipeg to solidify the middle of that secondary.
Look out for Loeffler, one of the best hitters in the Canadian Football League, and on cue, Taylor Loeffler. Did that for almost every time he suited up for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers over the last few years. You had to be careful out there with the guy who wears that war paint and that familiar number 16.
Yeah, that'll certainly be his role, to provide leadership and a physical presence. Receivers need to have their heads on a swivel crossing the middle against the Montreal Alouettes this season.
2nd down and 8. Harris once more throws it over the middle and knocked down. The intended target was Ricky Collins Jr. Couldn't bring that in, so that brings up the kick team for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Coverage on the play provided by Marcus Cromartie. Newcomer, the rookie, former NFLer, playing at that boundary halfback spot, so he'll be tested often.
Another ageless wonder back for the Alouettes. Steph Logan, 38 years young. There he goes. Logan up near the 38, and he is plastered there. So Antonio Pipkin, his first start of 2019, his first series coming up on Friday Night Football. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League.
Holding penalty against the Montreal Alouettes. Well, the ball was in flight, results in them being backed up under the shadow of their goalposts to start this drive.
Harry Jones, guy who used to wear number 17, watches his understudy here. Now he coaches as they flip it to B.J. Cunningham, and right away that play backfired. This Eskimo defense, a lot of people talking about the acquisitions made in the offseason, and there's one of them.
I'll tell you what, this play could have backfired a whole lot worse than it did. A gutsy call in this field position with that shovel pass underneath to B.J. Cunningham.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats coming over. Don Unumba, Larry Dean in there. Team that lit it up offensively, but there were question marks on the defensive side of the ball, and they went out and got some bodies, and some good ones. Backed it up now to the 4-yard line, 2nd and 12 for Antonio Pipkin. Pipkin only in the league the last 3 years, not a lot of playing time. Now he throws, and to the near sideline, and also took a shot. Well, the Alouettes mired in almost every last place category statistically. Stumble here early on. And Pipkin gets it away, and you wonder here if Boris Beatty is going to give up 2 points or will boot it out. Veteran kicker will take the knee and give the ball back to Edmonton and put 2 on the board for the Eskimos. Inauspicious start for the Owls here in Edmonton tonight. Back in November, Trevor Harris was on this field for the Ottawa Red Blacks in the Grey Cup game, and the numbers he put up in 3 seasons in Ottawa were outstanding, including 5,100 last year, many of them passing to a guy who came over as well, Greg Ellingson, Brad Sinopoli, and the rest. And now a new era begins here in Edmonton.
It certainly does. Mike Riley, not just the quarterback of this team, but very much the face of the franchise.
Has a connection, of course, with Jason Moss to the Toronto Argonauts. Once again, Robinson. So Harris comes out now, and a guy that his coach wanted to see in green and gold.
One of our first conversations is we went out to get you because of you. We're not looking at you replacing anyone. We want you here, and you know, you don't need to be anybody but yourself. You know, we'll make things work with you. You have all the talent you need, the work ethic, the drive, the desire to be great, and that's what we need here. We need you to be here. We don't need you thinking about doing anything more than that.
It's not as if Trevor Harris is an unknown commodity, and certainly not an unknown commodity to Jason Moss. There are 2 guys who kind of started their journeys together in Toronto. And you go back to 2012, Jason Moss, young member of the Argos coaching staff at that time. Trevor Harris breaking into the league as a quarterback.
Taya J, that last reception. Comes the blitz, picked up. Harris slant shot right there into Alouette territory, and once again it's Ricky Collins Jr.
Ricky Collins Jr., well-traveled guy already in the Canadian Football League, having spent time in Saskatchewan, did a mini camp with Winnipeg, the Hamilton Tiger Cat for a time, and was in BC last season. Joins the Eskimos as a free agent. This is a guy who I believe still has a lot of unrealized potential. Maybe a chance to shine here in green and gold.
Pitching it out. And there's the first catch from the tandem. Greg Ellingson, perennial 1,000-yard guy with the Red Blacks. And the air show between these 2 guys was something to behold.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, Rod, how things unfold here in Edmonton. Obviously in Ottawa, they typically had a pretty balanced receiving core. They had years where they had 4 receivers all go over 1,000 yards. The ball was spread around pretty evenly. You come into this season thinking Greg Ellingson, on paper at least, is clearly the guy here.
Harris lays it in. Kenny Stafford. Another first down for the Eskimos, and they're moving the football. 16-yard catch by Stafford, who also spent time in Montreal, of course.
Well, Kenny Stafford, the only one of the Edmonton Eskimos' top 6 receivers last season who's actually back in Edmonton here in 2019.
They have lost so many receivers the last couple of years. Good. Mike Riley's been throwing them a lot of footballs, and there's Collins on the far side. Another first down, and right now Trevor Harris is shredding the Alouettes.
Trevor Harris, throughout his career, has always been a guy who, if given time, can dissect the defense, an accurate passer. You're seeing the Eskimos' offensive line and running back C.J. Gable doing a solid job in protection thus far. And Harris holding up his end of the bargain for sure.
Into that red zone inside the 20-yard line. Quick hitter again for Collins. Zigs and zags and fumbles the football. And Montreal looks like they have it. And it is Alouette football. Ricky Collins Jr. had it pickpocketed. Alouettes' new uniforms, new logo, and their first turnover of 2019 stops and drive.
Play disciplined, hard-nosed football. Hard-nosed football. What I want to see out of this team is compete. Compete every down. No matter what the score is, no matter what is going on in the game, I want to see us compete. Compete! Everybody! Everybody! Doesn't matter the score. Doesn't matter anything else. Compete! Let's go whoop some ass.
Man, I'm ready. Harry Jones be happy right here as Marcus Cromartie in his first CFL game, a guy who spent some time in the NFL, has his first recovery. Fumble after a big drive, 12 plays, 77 yards. Antonio Pipkin trying to get the Alouettes again out of a hole here. The field, again, they stopped the Eskimos from driving to the end zone.
Yeah, big stop, but less than ideal circumstances for a young quarterback trying to establish himself and trying to establish his own in the early going. Less than stellar starting points for the Owls' first 2 possessions.
On a false start here, movement on the line. Our referee tonight, Justin McInnes, his first game. Nick Usher on the edge. They are going to check from above the eye in the sky.
Offside, Edmonton, number 75. 5-yard penalty, repeat, second down.
That helps climb out of this hole a little bit right now. There is Usher out of UTEP. Native of LA, he's been with the Eskimos the last couple of years. Hasn't had a lot of playing time. Alex Bazzi is injured right now. Usher draws into the lineup. Second down and 2 for Pipkin. Former Division II quarterback out of Tipton. Turns and hands it off. And William Stanback takes over a tailback this year for the Alouettes, has the first down.
Well, we mentioned off the top that Devere Posey will be looked at to provide both leadership and a deep threat in this Alouette offense. On the offensive line, second-year man Trey Rutherford, the number 2 overall pick in the 2018 draft, earned the starting job at left guard. Big things expected of him in his sophomore season.
Split out the receivers. Pipkin now, a little room now. Goes over the top for B.J. Cunningham. Has the reception, close to the first down marker. Here's the Edmonton D and how they line up, including some of the newcomers.
Keep an eye on Armando Sewell, the reliable veteran. Middle of that defensive line, Larry Dean, as mentioned. Headlines and nuclear receivers. Javon Santos Knox expected to be the weak side linebacker, starts the season on the injured list. On the back end, Anthony Orange comes over from BC to take over the boundary corner position.
There he is there. Anthony Orange in his first game back had labrum surgery in November. Recovering from injury. Guy who's been around this league. So now it's the first third down gamble, or will it be? Third and a long yard.
Morris Beatty is making his way out there for the punt team.
So they were looking at it. Molly and the Eskimos. Also thought the Alouettes were going to go for it. Here's some confusion as this play clock ticks down. The booming foot of Boris Beatty. End over end. Caught but fumbled again, and maybe Montreal has it once more. Alouettes pointing that way. And it is Montreal football, a second recovery. This time special teams are special. Whoops. There it goes on Friday Night Football. The winds have changed blue through northern Alberta in the offseason. All of the outs, the departures, including Mike Riley, of course, and so many others, including Darrell Walker. Here's Farhan Lalji now on all of the changes here in Edmonton.
Yeah, Rod, you know, we spoke to Jason Moss about his typical offseason when trying to build a team, and he says usually he'll spend 14 hours a day working on X's and O's and try to find a way to get his team strategically better offensively. He said this year it was completely different. He spent hour upon hour in terms of trying to determine how to build this locker room. He took input from a number of people, including coaches from outside the organization, and he said we wanted the right guys here. We wanted to make sure they played for one another, and he said when he came in to training camp, he had 96 players. He divided them into 8 teams of 12. He mixed up those teams, different players from different positions, different varying levels of experience. You talked about guys that were Canadian and American, and they did anything they could competitively. They played lawn darts, they shot free throws, they played charades and trivia, anything they could do to be competitive and get to know each other and have fun, and he feels it's really worked. He says this team is as close as they've ever been coming out of training camp. He's had veteran players come to him and say that they know players on the team from other position groups better than they ever have before, and they really feel good about where they're at as a group and a family and a culture going forward.
Here is Money Hunter. That was on the return.
Dad would have caught that one out in center field.
Yes, Torrey Hunter. Great handle, Money. Here comes the blitz. And there goes Pipkin. Antonio Pipkin with lots of running room and stumbling there around the 40-yard line, but does pick up the first down. But boy, he dodged the incoming Don Unamba, who had his number. Watch this.
Well, the thing you've got to realize about Antonio Pipkin is he's a big, strong dude, and any kind of arm tackle isn't going to be enough to bring him down. The end result of that broken play, but nonetheless, love seeing Pipkin use his legs to make plays. I think that's going to be a huge asset for him as he takes over as the Montreal Alouettes starting quarterback.
Pipkin play action. Not a good toss that time. And Farhan talking about the culture within the Eskimos. There's been a lot of talk the last couple of weeks, including from kicker Sean White, talking about some of the disruption from some players in the locker room. He says those guys are gone. Didn't point fingers or name names, but I like that lawn darts and charades thing. That's something that actually our team did in the offseason as well to pick up the atmosphere, especially in the truck, the production.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I know they had some chemistry issues in the truck last year. Producer, director fighting all the time.
They've been into water polo, I understand, synchronized swimming. Second down and 10. 4 minutes to go, opening quarter, opening night in Edmonton. Alouettes down 2. Pipkin fires, and that catch knocks the helmet off of Unumba. DeVere Posey with his first catch as an Alouette. There's a flag down in the backfield, though.
Yeah, you may have roughing the passer as Pipkin took a hit after that ball was released.
20-yard reception. And watch DeVere Posey, a former Grey Cup MVP with the Argos.
Posey's got the release up top. Here you'll see pressure coming from Pipkin.
Roughing the passer.
Yeah, that's
Edmonton,
what it was.
Number 97.
Boy,
Half the distance to the goal.
Watch the
First
head,
down.
the helmet of Pipkin. There's the catch. Really cranked it against the field turf.
I'm not entirely sold on that call against Kendall Vickers, but the fact is they're going to err on the side of protecting the quarterbacks, and that philosophically I can't argue with.
This could be a huge win early in the season for the Alouettes, who just did not score enough points, did not move the ball very much last year. That was not good. Out of the backfield for Posey, was looking one way, and there's a whistle. Eskimos thinking that that might have been behind the receiver, and a live football. It's not. It's second down now.
A big opportunity here for the Montreal Alouettes coming off that turnover. Great field position, big gain on the scramble from Pipkin. Make the most of these opportunities against this Edmonton Eskimo defense.
So many times last season the Alouettes stalled in this territory. Pipkin, corner route, Posey, touchdown. No stalling this time. The Alouettes have their first major of 2019. And it's new Alouette, DeVere Posey from Antonio Pipkin.
Well, here you're going to get a look. Talked about the importance of protection for Trevor Harris there. Antonio Pipkin, young quarterback, gets time to set up and throw that football. We have a little bit of a sense, when you talk about chemistry, that Antonio Pipkin and DeVere Posey have developed some of that already. These are two guys that actually would drive an hour, couple hours each way to go and meet each other and work out together and throw the ball occasionally in the offseason. Posey made it a point when he signed with Montreal of connecting with Pipkin, getting to know him, and you're reaping the early benefits of that relationship.
And connecting on their first touchdown. Pipkin, by the way, last year, not used a whole lot, only had 3 touchdown passes versus 8 interceptions. There's Posey, circled by my man Dwayne Ford.
You'll see him work that corner. No help from the outside. The 2 outside receivers are going to hold down the halfback and corner, leaving free safety Money Hunter to try and chase. Don Unumba started off moving with Posey. That's a long way to go for Hunter from the middle of the field to try and cover that outbreaking route.
Well, Antonio Pipkin must have salivated at the proposition of having a DeVere Posey. Pipkin, a Division II quarterback. Posey went to Ohio State and played in the NFL for a number of seasons before coming north of the border. And then again, his best time in the CFL was with the Argos when he was the Grey Cup MVP in 2017. Deep kick. Bringing it out. Robinson, twirl to the turf, 10-yard line. Well, week 1 continues tomorrow, back-to-back, doubleheader, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Red Blacks kick off against the Stampeders, the rematch of last November, won by the Stamps then, and then you and I are in Vancouver tomorrow night, partner. Blue Bombers and the BC Lions. Mike Riley makes his debut. I guess his second debut in BC. Second coming of Mike Riley in BC. For so many years around here, it was the life of Riley. Now it's the life after Riley. Trevor Harris is the guy in the cleats right now. The departed quarterback. Harris, the 33-year-old from Waldo, Ohio. Maybe his greatest performance came in last year's East Final.
Well, Trevor Harris's moment, wanting an opportunity. You remember he came so close to playing in the Grey Cup for Ottawa in their championship season. Henry Burris injured right before that game. Harris relished the opportunity to be a Grey Cup starter last season, to have his own shot at it. Seen the Eskimos a couple times already. Going to Calvin McCarty, veteran, terrific receiver out of that backfield. So connected in the flat.
Harris last year, of course, hoped to lead the Red Blacks to another Grey Cup victory. And his last game was on this field in a loss against the Stamps. But in that East Final, thumped the Hamilton Tiger Cats. He went 29 of 32, 367, and threw for an unprecedented playoff number, 6 touchdown passes. Couldn't replicate that, though, in the Cup. Far side, Devon Smith with his first as an Eskimo, the Iowa Hawkeye who hails from Toronto.
Played at Chaminade High School in Toronto before finishing his high school career south of the border. Making his way to Iowa. First-round pick was Devon Smith, number 8 overall in 2016. So they've been anxiously awaiting his arrival. He spent time in the National Football League over the last few years with Indianapolis, Oakland, and Jacksonville.
C.J. Gable picks up another first down. And the Eskimos with a couple ticks left in the first quarter, trailing the Alouettes 7-2. Turnovers have been costly because Harris has been on target.
Yeah, not surprisingly, Trevor Harris completing 10 of his first 11 passes as an Edmonton Eskimo for over 100 yards in the first quarter.
Barring penalty, final play, opening frame, Harris. And this is almost picked by Enoch Mwamba. Patrick Levels got his mitts on that. And that will be the opening quarter of opening night in Edmonton. First game of the season for the Owls and the Eskimos. A couple of turnovers so far. Alouettes have a 7-2 lead on Friday Night Football on TSN. Earlier in the day here in Edmonton, clear skies tonight, and 7-2 lead for the Alouettes. Their first touchdown of the season. Kind of a scratchy first quarter for the Alouettes offensively, but for the Eskimos, they moved the football. They just couldn't score any points. And I got to be honest with you, partner, I'm running on fumes right now.
Well, I was going to ask how you knew what the weather was like.
Yeah.
You were on a plane all day.
Yeah, well, what an exciting time last night, though, for all of Canada, the Toronto Raptors, NBA champions. Where were you watching?
Confession, I actually
didn't fall asleep.
I actually fell asleep until there were 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter of the game.
Well, those were a very exciting 9 minutes, though. That came
They were.
Actually,
They were.
last 9
I
seconds.
rested up so I was ready for the best part.
Everybody talking about it today. Canada NBA champions. And the parade Monday. Toronto, and it will be covered across the nation on TSN. Oh, Greg Ellingston, second catch as an Eskimo, sandwiched, and Marcus Cromartie goes down hard. How many times have we seen Greg Ellingston do that, but in a different uniform?
No, he said it yesterday. Same 82, just in a new location. Going up in traffic between the two defenders. He knows Taylor Loeffler's a hitter. I think Marcus Cromartie didn't get the memo.
I think there it is. There's the Raptor banner. The Eskimo locker room. That was Ellingston before the game. I think Marcus Cromartie actually got hit by Taylor Loeffler with a cushion named Greg Ellingston.
Taylor Loeffler doesn't discriminate. He'll hit anybody.
Man, there goes Cromartie.
Well, now this watch for the matchup here, as that's always a tough position to fill. The boundary halfback spot. Already a challenge with the rookie Cromartie playing there. As I said, big things expected of him. But with him going down, it's going to be another youngster, Greg Reed, sliding into that position. We'll see if the Eskimos try to test him on this possession.
Reed's played here before, but not a lot. They go testing, and it is out of the hands of Ellingson. Taylor Loeffler down there.
A couple of newcomers to Montreal, but veteran CFLers, Taylor Loeffler and Deontay Evans, former Calgary Stampeder, converging on the football.
Taking a potential touchdown away from Ellingson. 2nd down and 10. On the Montreal side of the field, quick hitter. And that will bring out the kick team once more. And despite the high completion percentage so far for Trevor Harris and the yardage accumulated, once again they'll have to give the football up.
Well, you saw second down, 2nd and long. Defense at an advantage. They can pin their ears back and come after it. They got instant pressure on Trevor Harris. He had to hurry that throw. Secondary's playing a little bit more aggressively, and the result is an incompletion.
So Sean White, his first field goal attempt of 2019 is a long one, 52 yards. Logan Kilgore, the holder. Veteran kicker. Not the biggest guy, but a big foot. Is this one? No. It's wide. And Steph Logan brought it out near the 8-yard line. Another long field. First miss of the season for the White Knight. 7-2 Als. This was DeVere Posey in the snow against the Calgary Stampeders 2 Novembers ago. What a huge play this was. Tommy Campbell chasing him down. Now their teammates. There he is now as an Alouette. Funky new logo. New uniforms. Pipkin low snap. Antonio Pipkin now chucks it out of the backfield for Stanback. Don't get much there, but DeVere Posey, new home, new quarterback, and he likes the kid.
Just seeing him come up and just how they approach the game, how they study, he has all of those in his package. I mean, he's the first guy in, last guy to leave. He's a great guy off the field, so he's living right. You don't have to worry about that. And just the way he prepares and how serious he takes it. Each rep, each play matters to him. He wants success, and he's not taking anything lightly. I think this time last year, you know, he was at home. From guys who go from getting cut to being in leadership roles, you don't take things for granted. And it's written all over his approach.
And he also has a missile for an arm. Chucking that in. There's Posey. That catch made by B.J. Cunningham. A couple of Midwest guys. Posey's from Cincinnati, Ohio. Pipkin's from Gary, Indiana. And as you said, Dwayne, they've developed some chemistry already. See if they do on this drive. Pipkin looks one way, and he's dropped. Maybe picked up a yard. Eskimos were not falling for that veteran D-line. And one guy, Amondo Sewell, who's seen that one a few times in his life.
Yeah, he's ready for it, but I will say I like the play call from the Montreal Alouettes. A good defensive play from Sewell, but nonetheless, I think you've got to build some design quarterback runs in when you've got a guy like Antonio Pipkin. Mix it up, keep defenses honest, slow down that pass rush a little bit when there's the fear that this kid's going to take off.
Bringing the house, Pipkin pumping, now pumps his legs, jumps out of the arms of a would-be tackler, and then throws up a prayer. And wisely gets out of bounds for a moment, thought he was trying to keep it in play. There is a flag down as he threw the ball. He tried to do a little too much that time. Could not find anybody home. There are flags actually on both sides of the field.
Offside, Montreal. number 85. Penalty is declined. Third down.
So it was an offside call. Kahari Jones, his first game as a head coach, brings out his punt team now.
And I suspect that part of the discussion with Antonio Pipkin as he gets to the sideline will be about picking your spots. Calculated risks. Don't try to force the big play.
Spiraling kick. Jordan Robinson with a hurdle and a spin. Down he goes. Good field position though. Flag is down to the far side. I'll tell you about it when we come back on Friday Night Football tonight from the Brick Field in Commonwealth. The Alouettes leading by 5. Team Canada begins their run for the CONCACAF Gold Cup tomorrow, kicking off against Martinique. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, only on TSN. Nice night here. Mid-June. First Friday Night Football telecast of the new season. A season that has a lot of intrigue and subplot because of all of the changing faces, including that one in the off-season. Unprecedented change in so many ways for so many players. Harris to Kenny Stafford. Stafford slips a tackle. Got some positive yardage on that far side.
Again, Kenny Stafford, really the lone holdover in Natea J in that Eskimo receiving corps. Perhaps an opportunity for Stafford, a guy who has demonstrated big play potential at times through his career, to step out of the shadow.
There's Gable. Stutter step. Does some dancing. Levels him. First down. Penalty again. 9-yard pickup. Will this be brought back?
Holding, Edmonton, number 27. 10-yard penalty, after yards regained, first down.
That one's going to go against the center, number 57. David Beard right behind the goalpost. He's going to work up to the middle linebacker, Enoch Mwamba, number 10. As CJ Gable makes that cut back. Beard can't tell which way he's going, gets caught grabbing as the defender reacts.
Shouting out these signals now on the O-line in a jumbo package, and they're tossing. Harris, strong arm, a little too strong. Looked like a miscommunication on the route, but it could have something to do with his flag that was in the backfield too. Looks like it's going against the Eskimos again.
Procedure, no end. Edmonton. That penalty is declined. Second down.
And this is stuff that we see early in the season, some procedure calls, the offsides, and those are things that are going to get cleaned up as the season progresses. Only 2 preseason games for every team.
And I think especially the way that the league has evolved, where quite frankly a lot of the veterans don't see much action.
No.
In the preseason.
Ellingson in motion. Harris to his left, snagging it up near the 45-yard line. Ricky Collins Jr. been a busy cat so far tonight.
You see Collins, the inside receiver, working over the middle. Here Ellingson comes underneath, drawing some of the attention, creating space for Collins, but knowing philosophically in Jason Moss's offensive system, something with which Trevor Harris is familiar. We talked about this earlier, the ball tends to get spread around, and so while Ellingson is the guy who comes in here with the most impressive resume, the fact is all of these guys are going to get opportunities, and you're seeing it. A guy like Ricky Collins could have a real breakout year because of the system in which he's now getting a chance to play.
Well, one thing in Edmonton through the years, they throw the football. here at the Brick Field. It's been a great destination for a dream team of receivers through the years, especially recently with Duke Williams, Darrell Walker, Brandon Zylstra. Here's the rush, and there's Collins Jr. once more. Big three for the Eskimos from last year. They gone.
Yeah, that was their top three, Mitchell, Williams, and Walker.
Those are a lot of touchdowns for you. A lot of yardage, a lot of touchdowns. And again, most of them coming off the arm of Mike Riley at the time. And another procedure call here, it looks like. So the Eskimos struggling with some consistency. And their start offensively.
Offside.
No, they're
Edmonton.
saying it's
Sorry,
offside.
Montreal. Number 93. 5-yard penalty.
So that again
First down.
coming from the eye in the sky. Alouettes played referee there with the procedure call, but it is offside, so it'll be a 1st and 10 for the Esks.
You'll see that eye in the sky used not to take over the officiating of the game by any stretch,
right.
but to correct the obvious oversights.
Eskimos get the benefit of this penalty. Play action, Harris rolling. Stafford catching. For Marty back in the game, knocking him out of bounds near the 38. Second down at about 6.
See Bob Slowick, the new defensive coordinator in Montreal. Expect to see some creative blitz packages as part of his scheme.
And whistles blow. Enoch Mwamba had jumped offside. Was nabbed. Some of that early season rust. And timing issues. Like you say, some of these guys have barely played.
I would say there has definitely become more of a trend. We talk about it late in the season about sort of being sharp versus being healthy. And I find the same thing has started to apply at the start of the season.
It's not load management. Here's Enoch. Guy who's been around, 30-year-old.
Offside. Montreal. Number 10. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Enoch Mwamba. Sort of a good mix of veterans and youngsters on that LSD.
C.J. Gable. John Bowman wrapped him up. But a 1st down again. Moving the sticks. The Eskimos down 5 midway through the 2nd quarter.
A nice cut back off the block of Jacob Ruby. Left guard here, he washes Mwamba down to the inside. Gable bounces it out.
Gable, a 1K guy last year. Stays in the block this time. Actually, will take a screen pass. High steps again. Won't get much. Gable, though, last year, the first 1,000-yard rusher for the Eskimos since Jerome Messam back in 2011. Good year last year, 5.4 yards per carry. Ended up 3rd. Andrew Harris, the rushing leader.
Finding second life in his career since coming over from the Hamilton Tiger Cats a couple of seasons ago.
They're going to have to get this off. Play clock comes down to 1 second. Harris zings one. There's a touchdown. Kenny Stafford. Eskimos' first major of 2019. And Trevor Harris's first touchdown pass in green and gold.
Nice adjustment, recognizing what's going on in protection here. Edmonton Eskimos. Backs it up, keeping a receiver in to help out. And the blitz pickup. Trevor Harris again, given time, finds the open man. Strike to Kenny Stafford.
Just 1 second left on the play clock, and then a quick strike over the middle. Kenny Stafford gives the Eskimos the lead. Sean White adds one more. It's a 2-point advantage. Welcome to Edmonton, Trevor Harris. Did that many times in red and black. Now he has the double E on his helmet on Friday Night Football.
Well, when you're a receiver in the Canadian Football League in a passing play, it's not just about the routes that you run. Sometimes you're going to be asked to block, and here it's Natey Adjei doing a good job understanding the protection scheme. He knows he's got to stay in. He's not going to release on a route because of the number of rushers. He steps up, stands in there. He gets knocked down, but he does his job taking care of his guy to allow Trevor Harris the time to connect with Kenny Stafford.
Then all this vacancy is wide open. Corners there, right? Yeah. Yep, so I'm just gonna, if that ever happens, just know I'm gonna stop and drive.
Big drive by the Eskimos. There's a big kick as well. Stephen Logan scurries out near the 24-yard line, make it 25. Kenny Stafford touchdown.
Make your escape with intelligent all-wheel drive in the Nissan Qashqai.
A low-scoring game so far, first of the season. CFL season began last night in Hamilton with the Rough Riders and Ticats. Doubleheader tomorrow. Just seems like yesterday, partner, we're saying goodbye to the 2018 season. This off-season flew by, did it not?
It was a busy off-season around the Canadian Football League. A true free agent frenzy. The advancement of CFL 2.0.
Oh, nice catch behind cover. Posey. Pipkin. Little alley-oop toss, but this is likely coming back. There was a flag down on the play.
No end. Montreal.
Just another procedure call here.
Repeat, first down.
Timing issue, and if looks could kill. Taking away a beautiful strike, Dwayne.
Early season growing pains. Over the years, again, training camps have become shorter. As we mentioned, you have, in a lot of instances, veteran players not seeing as much action in the preseason.
This one goes backwards to Stanback. Chatted with Kavis Reed. There's a fumble. It's like it knocked out of bounds by the Alouettes. We talked with Kavis Reed, the general manager of the Alouettes. He's kind of been a guy under fire since he took his job. Just so many things that could go wrong, did go wrong. And every time you try to take one step forward, another goes backwards. But he was really looking forward to watching Stanback. This ball out. It's swept away. Still Alouette football. Under 5 to play before halftime. Deep drop for Pipkin. Looking, now decides to go. And he's brought down by the grill. And now we got a scrap here. And already it is ugly early in the new season. Jesse Joseph with the face mask. And then some haymakers.
Well, Joseph, a former Montreal Alouette, playing his first game as an Eskimo here.
Think he's a little amped up?
Making it clear where his loyalties now lie.
Well, 15 yards for this play coming up by Joseph. I mean, this is full on. He almost ripped that helmet right off.
Well, this was the combination face mask horse collar.
Is that 30? It is a horse collar and a face mask. I don't know if I've ever seen that. It is not pretty, I'll tell you that. And the former Alouette then got up.
Well, still some words being exchanged between Joseph.
Face mask, Edmonton, number 92. We have offsetting unnecessary roughness penalties against Edmonton and Montreal. 15 yards up from the end of the play, first down.
So after that dust up, essentially the face mask call. So Joseph is got to curb his enthusiasm, his temper here against his old mates. Already a number of penalties, a lot of flags so far.
Two teams combining for 11 penalties for 70 yards thus far in the first half.
Pipkin from the gun. And through that behind William Stanback.
Nothing pretty about the play, but as a quarterback coach and head coach, when you're Kahari Jones, you appreciate seeing that from your third-year quarterback. Just recognizing everything's covered. Don't try to force something. Protect the field position. Live to fight another down. Good decision.
Under Kahari Jones' watch now, Mike Sherman wants to be the head coach of this team. That looked like offside. Edmonton, maybe a free one here. And now Pipkin racing out, has a first down and slides down and is hit by Money Hunter. And there's a late hit and another 15-yarder plus an offside call.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how he slides. If he gives himself up, you got to lay off.
We have been talking about that a lot
Offside.
over the last 24
Edmonton,
hours.
number 92. That penalty is declined. Unnecessary roughness, Edmonton, number 41. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Last night in Hamilton, Zach Collaros was nailed late by Simone Lawrence.
Yeah, and the deal here is, you know, you can't, in that situation when he gives himself up, you can't do anything aggressive. Really, you can't touch him at all.
He slides, you just tag him. That's it. Oh, the Eskimos shooting themselves in their cleats here in this one, even though they have a lead. Costly errors in the first half that have to be cleaned up. Stanback spins. Mistakes and miscues.
Yeah, a little bit of the issue in scoring opportunity. Eskimo fumble there by Ricky Collins. Money Hunter trouble handling the punt, gives the Owls field position that led to their first touchdown. And here we've got a couple of unnecessary roughness calls. Face mask and the late hit aiding this drive that has the Alouettes again in scoring position inside the Edmonton 30-yard line.
Last play before the 3-minute warning before halftime. Comes that rush again. Pipkin unloads, and BJ Cunningham would like to have that back. That's one that he normally hauls in. Not this time. And that will bring out the kick team. And they will have a field goal attempt. Chance to take the lead when we come back. It's the 3-minute warning before halftime on Friday Night Football.
Getting close to halftime, back in the studio. We're going to talk at the half about Trevor Harris's Eskimos debut, also Antonio Pipkin, the Montreal D, and we'll hear from Farhan Lalji, the league's handling of the Simone Lawrence hit and Zach Collaros last night in Hamilton. Back to Rod and Dwayne.
Okay, boys. Boris Beatty to regain the lead. There's the hold and the kick. And that is way wide. Put that, gets the single point. And it's a 1-point lead now. So Kahari Jones will be happy with that turn of events in his first game as a head coach in the Canadian Football League after years as an understudy assistant. Here's Farhan Lalji.
Yeah, Rod, it's been an eventful week for Kahari. When they made the decision to offer him the head coaching job at the beginning of the week, it was met by loud cheers from the players. He endeared himself further by having the first decision be to shorten practice time, so they love that, but it's been a very busy week for Kahari because he's also lost a receiver coach, Andre Barbosa, who's a close friend of Mike Sherman's, left when Sherman got let go, so Kahari also spent some time earlier this week working with receivers, and they're short-staffed. They do hope to name a receiver coach early next week. We're hearing the name Robert Gordon, a former teammate of his in Winnipeg, is a possibility, but for tonight's game, they've got Luc Brodeur-Jourdain, injured offensive lineman, up in the press box on the other end of the headset, talking about down and distance and relaying fronts. So they're short-staffed, but this is an opportunity that Jones knew he just couldn't pass up.
Well, he has been wanting a head coaching job. He's interviewed so many times before and was unable to find employment as a head guy. Opportunity knocks, opens the door for a really nice guy. Kahari Jones is one of the nicest guys you will ever meet. He's got a fire about him, and I know our guy in the studio knows that. You see it in his pregame speeches. You see it on the sideline.
Well, I'll tell you what, this may seem like an uphill battle in Montreal for Kahari Jones as coach, but I would say anybody who could make Milt Stegall look good, I'm not going to bet against him.
I think Milt needs Farhan Lalji's shirt. I am just saying, because that is one special shirt that he's got. That he is. Farhan's bringing. He's bringing almost like a John Luke quality to tonight's broadcast.
I'll tell you.
Look at that. Look. Where did? Oh my gosh! I think that's the new designer label.
Straight from the sidelines to the nightclub.
Yes. Look at that. There's Kahari now stewing a little bit. 1st and 10. Eskimos inside the 45-yard line. Trying to get some more momentum before halftime. A minute and a half to go in the second quarter. Read option again. C.J. Gable down Main Street. Big gain.
Love the patience of C.J. Gable on this run, and it's something you try to teach young running backs is that everything's not at full speed. Sometimes you've got to gear down until that hole opens up, let things develop, and then once those offensive linemen get where they need to be, he turns it on. He gets north-south in a hurry.
Great change of pace. Will they go to him again? Yes, they will. C.J. Gable cutting back and forth here tonight, using those legs with such efficiency. Close to another first down near the 10.
The Eskimos doing a nice job mixing it up and getting that run game involved here late in the first half. Sometimes you catch the defense off guard a little bit when they start getting a little bit light in their stances, thinking they're going to try and get up the field in a hurry.
Harris calls his own number, sets it up inside the 10. Eskimos will go 1st and goal and have 52 seconds to work with before halftime. One of the struggles that Harris had in Ottawa, not necessarily him, but the Red Blacks offense, was in the red zone. In these areas, settled for a lot of field goals. Would like to change that tune here in Edmonton. Try to score that ball. Harris, Kenny Stafford. Oh yeah, that's mine. I'll take it. Touchdown.
It's a
surprise.
Fantastic play call. Set him up with the run, set him up with the run. And then once they all get anchored in there, expecting the run, you go play action. Make that handoff to C.J. Gable, Kenny Stafford wide open in the flats. Watch Stafford on the right side of your screen. Comes in like he's going to be that slush block, helping out on the backside of the run play. Quick release to the flat, nobody with him. Easy 6.
Trevor Harris, 2 touchdown passes now in his Eskimo debut, and operating at a high percentage again, and already throwing up some mean yardage.
Well, Trevor Harris-like numbers, 21 of 26 for 232 and a pair of touchdowns already.
East to west, it doesn't matter. Trevor Harris When he goes north-south on the football field, does a lot of this.
Yeah, kept it simple on the drive. Quick hitter to Ellingson. Couple of runs to C.J. Gable. And now you've got that defense respecting, even fearing the run game a little bit. Play action, nice ball fake between Harris and Gable there. Opens up Kenny Stafford for the major.
7-play, 75-yard drive. Stafford has 2 touchdowns, both from Trevor Harris. And might this be a new connection that we'll be talking about this season? It is tonight. 16-8 now, Eskimos. Alouettes might get a play or 2 here before halftime, but it's at the 20. So will Kahari Jones try to air this out, try to get it into field goal position, or will they rather just play it conservative and get ready for the locker room?
You'll see Kenny Stafford here, motions down inside like he's going to be part of that blocking scheme. Quick release to the flat.
Trevor. There's the Harris family. Got to know them quite well in Ottawa. Trevor Harris, I'll tell you one thing, he is a guy who is not short of confidence, never has been. He's also a guy who has a very positive vibe. You know, one of the things that he's been doing in the offseason, his mom owns a dance studio. He's been tap dancing to help with his footwork. He's also been boxing. I don't think he boxes and tap dances at the same time. Only Muhammad Ali did that, but we'll have a feature on Trevor Twinkle Toes Harris next week on our pregame show. See it online and send it out on the Twitter machine. And you got to see it. I mean, he's good. Not as good as you. You're a better dancer. Norm Mill, too. Well, the Eskimos surge back. Pipkin has work to do on Friday Night Football. 16-8 Eskimos as we send it back to Rod and the boys in the studio.
Thank you, Rod. The boys are Hank and Maddie and Milt. Could have been worse for the Alouettes, too. We'll talk about that. But Trevor Harris's Eskimo debut, Maddie, not bad. 21 of 26, 232, and a couple of touchdown passes.
Yeah, and you know that he's in a groove just by watching his eyes. Now, quickly the ball's coming out of his hand. You know, he and Moss were together, obviously, 4 years ago in Toronto, had a breakout year. And here, he looks the area defender off, an area outside. He brings him with his eyes there, and he spots it to Taya J in the hole. That's beautiful. That's knowing where you're going with the football. Again, surveying the field. He knows he's got a bloody nose right up the middle. 2 linebackers coming right at him. He knows he's got to get rid of it. And he finds Ricky Collins Jr. on a quick slant and spots the ball perfectly. Very accurate. And again, he knows what he's doing with the football. Looking the defense off, gives it to C.J. Gable, lets him churn some yards up the middle, let the big boys eat. And then here, cover 0. 8 people up front. Easy for him to detect. Everybody does their job up front. You got Gable doing his. Ataya J picks up his man. And you got a great route from Kenny Stafford, sticking him here, going to the post. Spotted beautifully, closing out the half, whether it's hockey, closing out periods, whether it's basketball, closing out the half. This half in football, the Edmonton Eskimos and Trevor Harris closed out the half and surged ahead. It was beautiful football.
Oh, that's what we talked about. We didn't think Trevor was going to have any letdowns because of the fact that he's played in this offense for a number of years, and being back with Jason Moss, his former offensive quarterback coach, it looks like this guy is back in rhythm again. Honestly, when I was watching those highlights, I didn't know. I was thinking, man, is he still in the Ottawa red-black color? Oh, no, hold up. He's wearing John Deere color Edmonton Eskimos guys. So the fact that he's out there feeding his team, and he's looking like the Trevor Harris that ended up the season last year for Ottawa.
John Deere, but not deer in the headlights. He looks pretty comfortable at all. How about Antonio Pipkin?
Well, he's not quite putting up Trevor Harris numbers. I don't think anyone was expecting that. But so far, so good. I like what I'm seeing. Coming into this year, we knew he could run the ball. But we wanted to see if he can throw the ball. And when you run the ball, it puts a lot of pressure on the defense. We see Antonio Pipkin, he can run the ball. But can he throw the ball? To be a winning quarterback in this league, you have to throw the ball. And this route right here, this throw is not an easy throw. This corner route to DeVere Posey, is beautiful. You can see these two guys been working in the offseason. He used every single inch of that end zone. That's important. These 20 yards end zone, a lot of young quarterbacks, they try to put it on the line, but he used the trajectory, threw it over to a great throw. So that's good. Like what we see him in the first half, he has to continue it in the second half.
Now, when I tracked the penalties last year, the Edmonton Eskimos, it was astounding to see they were the most penalized team in the league. 9 penalties, 78 yards so far. They lead this game, but it could have been worse for the Alouettes, as mentioned, because the penalties, also the turnovers for Edmonton.
Oh, you're right about that. And I mean, that's one of the biggest things when it comes to Montreal that we knew coming in this year with some of the defensive acquisitions that they made, especially bringing Keontae Evans, Taylor Loeffler, a number of different guys. We expected much more from these guys. Again, they caused a couple of turnovers early in the game by special teams and also on the defense to keep Edmonton out of the end zone on a drive early on. But, hey, they've got to get consistent. They got to make plays more consistently on that side of the ball because we know with the young quarterback, they're going to have to put in that time. Get that offensive Trevor Harris and those guys off the field just to get that offense back on their field, get Antonio Pipkin back in the rhythm, get William Stanback going, and try to wear down that defensive front from the Edmonton Eskimos.
Yeah, you heard Dwayne Ford talking about it there in the first half. Just kind of how under the gun the Montreal Alouettes coaching staff is, right? You know, and it does transcend on the football field when there's disarray, which Montreal has had leading up to this football game when the head coaching changed. Kahari's now having to coach receivers as well as quarterbacks and manage the whole aspect of the football team. And speaking from experience, man, that's difficult to do in a week's time and find your rhythm, losing coaches left, right, and center. This football team looked a little disarrayed in the first half to me.
They have to take advantage of their opportunities. They can't make many mistakes, and when the Eskimos make a mistake, they have to take advantage of it, which they haven't done in that first half. They can't afford to not take advantage of mistakes.
That penalty-aided drive down the field, Boris Beatty misses the field goal, and they just get one more on the board for that, 8 points. And remember Fred Stamps, great receiver for the Edmonton Eskimos. He's being honored at Commonwealth at the half. There he is. Member number 2. Be back to talk to Farhan Lalji as well after what happened last night in Hamilton. It's Friday Night Football on TSN 16-8 Edmonton at the half.
So many times last season the Alouettes stalled in this territory. Pipkin, corner route, Posey, touchdown. Down to 1 second. Harris zings one. There's a touchdown. Kenny Stafford. Eskimos' first major of 2019.
Week 1 continues with a doubleheader tomorrow. The Grey Cup rematch at McMahon, the Ottawa Redblacks. A lot of change. They still have Brad Sinopoli, and Calgary still has Bo Levi Mitchell, the Grey Cup MVP. That starts with then another good matchup in the West with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers against Mike Riley and the BC Lions, and that'll be at 10 Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific time.
Where is Jesse? It's almost game time. He's always late for this stuff.
God, I'm here! Play action!
Go long!
Yeah, baby!
Hey everyone, here in Edmonton for the Eskimos home opener with Bel Air Direct. Show you the simple pleasures of CFL football. Jesse, get up!
The cardio, man. I'm gonna throw up.
The Bardown boys having some fun. We've had a couple of hits on quarterbacks in this game. A high tackle, face mask, horse collar, and then later one reminiscent of last night with Antonio Pipkin sliding down and Money Hunter on top of him for a penalty for the Eskimos. Of course, we think of last night in Simone Lawrence on Zach Caleros, which caused a lot of controversy, and how the league is continuing to handle it. Let's go back to Commonwealth and hear more from Farhan Lalji. Farhan?
Well, a day later, the league certainly believes like they could have gone a step farther last night and given Simone Lawrence an ejection from that game. Video Command was involved, and they decided to upgrade a 15-yard penalty for roughing the passer to a 25-yard penalty. At the time, they felt that was enough, and now it turns into a hearing and potentially a suspension. I know that the league office would like to get a hearing done very quickly here, preferably by tomorrow, if not Sunday at the latest, because they want to make sure that if there's an appeal, that they've got time to get this all done before next week. But you get the sense from talking to people around the league that everybody believes this was a dirty play, it was an avoidable play, and it could be a suspension-worthy play. And if that happens, we'll see what the PA does if Lawrence wants to appeal it.
Great Canadian musician Tom Cochrane And there he is, and he's entertaining the fans at Commonwealth at the half in a game with the Eskimos leading the Montreal Alouettes 16-8. Halftime on Friday Night Football. Stick around. Listen to There's a Drink for That from the James Barker Band on Spotify. And we welcome viewers on TSN3 watching now after the U.S. Open. Here's Maddie with the halftime stats.
Yeah, changing places, changing faces. Doesn't matter for Trevor Harris. He's on top of his game. Things seem normal for the Alouettes as they continue to struggle offensively with all the disarray in that front office leading up to this game. Score reflects that, Rod. 16-8. Eskimos took charge in that second quarter.
Good first half, Trevor Harris. Here he is now with Farhan.
Trevor, you completed 10 of your first 11 passes as an Eskimo, 230 yards. You feel pretty good about where the offense here is in the first half?
Just executing the offense and just banding together and trying to get it done the best we can.
What about the connection with Kenny Stafford? You've thrown 2 to him. Do you feel some comfort there pretty early here?
Yeah, I've been vibing with Kenny all camp in terms of just being on the same page. He's an amazing route runner, and he's a scary guy when he gets going, and I think you'll see a ton of him this year doing that.
What about CJ? I mean, you were used to a really good running back with William Powell in Ottawa, but he seems to be able to get inside and get the tough yardage and keep the defense honest.
Yeah, Willie P and CJ are both in that conversation, best running back in the league, and we're fortunate to have CJ. He does it all.
Thanks for this, Trev.
Thanks.
Trevor Harris adjusting nicely on his new team in green and gold. Late touchdown. A couple of passes to Kenny Stafford for touchdowns, and it's a 16-8 Edmonton lead over Antonio Pipkin and the Alouettes. Second half kickoffs coming up on TSN.
You gotta love it. Friday Night Lights, baby.
It's Friday Night Football. Yeah. Boys are all here gonna put on a show. Come on.
16-8 hometown Eskimos lead heading to the second half on Friday Night Football. Hall of Fame receiver Andre Reed in the house. Big first half for receivers. Kenny Stafford, pair of touchdowns. DeVere Posey scoring for the Alouettes. He's with Farhan.
Perfect pass by Pipkin on the touchdown. What are you seeing from the young quarterback in the first half?
Playing well. We got to stop killing ourselves and going backwards. You know, we do that, we'll give ourselves a chance this half.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that. You also had another long completion, which was called back because of a no-end penalty, and a bit of that with the offsides and procedures. How do you fix that this early in the year?
That was totally me. I was supposed to be on the ball on that. That's an MA on me, a minus on my grade sheet. But, you know, I'm going to go back out there and make up for it.
Thanks, Derek.
Yeah, no problem.
Something you don't hear very often. Hey,
veteran guy, accountable, being accountable.
Being accountable. This age of self-entitlement in the sports world. And Antonio
Posey's not that guy.
No. Pipkin to Posey could be something we're saying a lot this year. We'll see if we say it in the second half. Eskimos will kick it off. O'Neill start us up here at the Brickfield at Commonwealth. Opening night. Both teams. There is Logan. 40. AP. Antonio Pipkin. Subpar first half, despite that pass to Posey. Really, numbers pedestrian. 7 for 14, just 56 yards. Total offense, 48 passing yards. And yet they only trail 8.
That's the number that ultimately matters in the end. Remember, the Alouettes have had, I'd say, 3 really bad starting positions in the first half, which is going to limit what you can do offensively.
Pipkin got hammered as he threw that ball for Posey. Take a while for Antonio Pipkin. Like, remember what happened last year during the Cirque de Manziel. Johnny Manziel came in and lost his job, and Pipkin took over, and then he lost his job. That hurts.
Mike Moore getting a pretty good push. Moore, former Ottawa Red Black, has really found a home here in Edmonton, establishing himself as a starter last year.
Pipkin has to run and has to chuck. A very quick 2 and out of the locker room for Pipkin, Posey, and the Alouettes. And one of the struggles that this team has had is protecting the quarterback, and they're hunting him down tonight.
Yeah, keep an eye on Mike Moore from that defensive tackle spot, number 96. Great spin move inside to beat the guard, Sean Jameson. Moore, second generation CFLer. His dad, Sean, a former Ottawa quarterback.
Jordan Robinson pushed back. And there is Trevor Harris. Just like Trevor Harris in Ottawa, doing the same in Edmonton. High percentage, using everybody.
Yeah, and the Montreal Alouettes need to find a way to get Trevor Harris out of his rhythm. I mean, you can see he's feeling very comfortable in the pocket. You look at him, not under a whole lot of duress as he's delivering those balls. That's the high accuracy rate in the first half of this football game. You know, there's been some talk about the Alouettes getting creative in terms of that blitz package. They've got to find a way to create opportunities to get pressure on the Edmonton quarterback.
A hold on the return brings the ball back to the 20. Play action. Ajay. Levels is there. John Bowman also giving chase. There's the veteran. How many times in the last few years have we said, is this it for John Bowman? He says at least one more time. He's given it a shot. Still got the wheels.
Bowman definitely still making plays. We thought he might ride off into the sunset. You remember he scored a touchdown in the regular season finale last year, and what many thought would be his last game. It was the first touchdown of his career. Apparently he developed a little bit of a taste for the end zone. He's sticking around to see if he can get some more.
He'll be 37 on July 19th. All-time sack leader, moving up the list. Stu Hill, who, by the way, is in the house tonight. James West is here. There is
very
JB.
fittingly number 7.
Yes, tied with Stu Hill. 126 and counting. A few more sacks left in that veteran body. Coming off the edge again. Here he comes. There goes the ball. Coming back to it, Ricky Collins Jr. Nice snag in front of Tommy Campbell.
Well, we were worried here in week 1 about the timing, the chemistry between quarterbacks and receivers, but it's a little bit of unspoken communication here between passer and pass catcher. And the throw behind, that's the DB, Tommy Campbell overrun it. Trevor Harris puts it in a good spot, nice adjustment. And that throw behind, back shoulder throw for Ricky Collins Jr.
It was an awkward play just now. First down. And they will huddle briefly. Now get right to the line. Something that the Red Blacks did so effectively over the last couple of years. That hurry-up offense. Rarely ever huddled. Harris barks out those signals and then whips it. Looking for Ellingson. And again, the drive will stop here in Alouette territory.
A pretty good matchup here between a couple of veteran performers. High-end players, Greg Ellingson, Seontae Evans.
Stops the streak of 10 straight completions for Trevor Harris. Yeah, the Alouettes went out and got some defensive help, went and got some players with a Grey Cup pedigree like Seontae Evans, Patrick Levels. Look at this bounce. Logan cornered. Nowhere to go. Alouette football when we come back. 16-8 Eskimos in Edmonton.
The scene is getting crowded, I'ma ride my own way. I don't need your approval, I'ma go my own way. Ride my own. Ay, 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 ay.
The new look Owls, that logo, the uniforms. You like them?
I do. Nice to have a little bit of a change.
We look around the league for some teams as Posey grabs that pass from Pipkin on first down. He's going to set up second and short. That's what Cavis Reed chatted about before the game. It wasn't, the first and 10 stuff. It was the second and manageables that they really want to get this offense clicking on.
Well, that's it. When you get into those second and medium situations, making sure you're taking the checkdowns, take the easy throws, get the first down, and put drives together. Second and long doesn't mean that you have to air it out, push the ball down the field. Take what that defense gives you.
They'll get Stanback going. Looks like he's got the first down. They'll move the sticks as Sewell wrestles him to the ground. William Stanback comes into this lineup. And really last year and had a couple of big games for the Alouettes.
Yeah, one of the bright spots in a tough season for the Montreal Alouettes, it was the emergence of William Stanback that put the Alouettes in a position to be able to trade Terrell Sutton partway through the season. And they expect to rely on Stanback in that ground game a little bit.
Look out now. Pipkin going down. All kinds of trouble. Kwaku Boateng knocks it out of the park. Brings down Antonio Pipkin.
Kwaku Boateng coming from the left side of your screen, just outside that goalpost. He's working the twist with Mike Moore. They both find their way to the quarterback. The Wilfrid Laurier product is going to get credit for this one.
That's a home run swing.
Yeah, third-year man. Really established himself as a starter in this league last year. Was rewarded with a new contract in the offseason.
There goes Stanback. Almost the first down. We'll see where the spot is. What a good play call, but this could come back. There was a penalty in the backfield. Pipkin looking back at that orange nylon. Likely against the Alouettes. There's an injured Eskimo
Holding.
down.
Montreal, number 67. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat, second down.
Injured Eskimo is weak side linebacker Vontae Diggs. He gets the start tonight as Javon Santos Knox, who was signed from Winnipeg in the offseason, opens on the one-game injured list.
This is going to set up second in an area code, so likely, unlikely, you'll see a draw play now. Pipkin's going to have to air it out. Vontae Diggs is down. We'll step aside and come back on Friday Night Football from Edmonton. Well, he was a guy who played for both of these teams, but mostly catching passes like these from Ricky Ray, number 2. One of the greatest Eskimo receivers of all time. Fred Stamp's in the house tonight. They honor him here tonight. Put a stamp on the Canadian Football League and a lot of end zones. A little emotional tonight for Fred Stamps. Starting to leak a little there. Great guy, great receiver. Standing by with Farhan.
Fred, you're third all-time in Eskimo receiving, almost 8,000 yards and 500 receptions. The team decided to bring you back for a retirement ceremony. I know you got a bit emotional at halftime. What did it mean to you?
It means a lot. It means a lot to come from these guys. I appreciate everything they did for me over my career, and man, just the welcome is just amazing, So I got kind of full, and I appreciate it.
With all that you accomplished, what stands out to you?
It just stands out, just the warm welcome. You see the coaching staff, a lot of guys I played with. It's just a lot of love, man, and I really appreciate it.
Played with Jason. What are you seeing from him as a head coach?
Oh, he's an awesome head coach, man. I love that guy, man. I was fortunate to come in and have him, Ricky Ray, Jason Tucker, man. And I feel like as a young receiver, young guy coming in from the States, that's a perfect situation to be in.
Last thing I'll ask you is the guy you got traded for, Kenny Stafford. 2 touchdowns here today. It looks like he's paying tribute to you.
Oh, man, Kenny, he's awesome, man. He's a good football player, good guy, man. And I'm excited to see him just tear this year up, man.
Thanks for this. You look like you can still play, but enjoy retirement.
Oh, man, I'm retired, man. I'm enjoying the family time, man. Thank you.
Great to see him. Fred Stamps.
Hard not to be a fan.
Spectacular. Yeah, spectacular. Another safety taken by Antonio Pipkin. Jason Moss, a former teammate, of course, of Fred Stamps, knew how good of a receiver this guy was in his time in Edmonton.
And I remember that first practice with him, just looking at him, and I remember talking to Danny and saying, this kid's going to be something. I don't know what he's going to be, but he's going to be something. He's easy to throw to. He gets open. And then I saw nothing but that every day he played here and the games he played. He's tough. I mean, as tough as they come as a receiver. Very productive his whole career. So, I mean, I really enjoyed playing with Fred.
Everybody enjoyed watching him. We enjoyed covering him. As broadcasters, I would not enjoy covering him as a defender. He was almost impossible to cover, and as Farhan mentioned, very emotional. I would imagine it is. Come back to a city you loved. Come back to a place that you made better as a player. And I would suggest that someday down the road there might be another call for Fred Stamps. Canadian Football Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame numbers.
A perennial 1,000-yard receiver. Absolute class act.
Speaking of the Hall, this year, great class coming up in the summer. John Cornish, Mervyn Fernandez, Terry Greer, Ernie Pitts, David Williams, builders Jim Hobson and Frank Smith, but it's a receiver-bent class.
Edmonton, 10-yard penalty, first down.
This penalty, or the first time we're seeing these applied, Canadian Football League this year. Moves them back to the 10-yard line. So Hari, quarterback coach, OC and head coach, busy guy on the sideline. Trevor Harris comes out gunning. And again, Ricky Collins. These two got something going here. A little something, something.
Certainly do. Again, this offense is going to create lots of opportunities for everybody. Guys like Greg Ellingson, Trevor Harris, Brad Sinopoli, all the receivers that played as Jason Moss built this offense in Ottawa. The same thing continued here in Edmonton. You saw the numbers earlier of Duke Williams, Bryant Mitchell.
Fusion here. Harris decides to call his number, goes forward. Oh, he was crunched there. Enoch Mwamba. It's not a malicious hit by any stretch by Mwamba, but that was dangerous for Trevor Harris to go forward. By the way, he has now secured his 30th career 300-yard passing game.
Well, with a quarter and a half still to go here, you'll see Harris take a shot. He's being brought down from behind as Mwamba's coming forward to make the tackle.
Iffy territory again. Already the dialogue early in the season about these hits on quarterbacks. Only in the second game. Harris reverses course. Zips it in. On Smith. Second catch. So Trevor Harris comes from the nation's capital. He is putting up big numbers, putting up big 300-yard games last season, and already in his first in green and gold, doing what he did.
Yeah, picking up right where he left off. 10 times he had 300 or more yards in a game last year.
down. And Alouettes think they stopped the Eskimos here. Eskimos are signaling a first down. Alouettes say they have stopped them from here. Looks like it's close. May require a measurement. I think they're going to bring the sticks out. This is not the way that they wanted to plunge this. This is too close for comfort. See the yard marker on the far side.
From that angle, looking down the line, it appears.
They're going to stretch this out. Let's see. I'm not sure.
It looked like he had it looking down the line.
No, they did not get it. What a stop. And a turnover by the Eskimos. Alouettes football. Turnover on downs on Friday Night Football.
A big stop here for the Montreal Alouette defense. And if we see that Serge White go low and come across the line, John Bowman freed up from the edge. Good penetration as well from Enoch Mwamba. This angle right down the line, it looked as if the ball might have crossed the plane of that first down marker, but again, we're not exactly on the line, so that can be a little bit deceiving.
And the Eskimos are challenging the spot. It's always difficult. You have to have conclusive evidence based on where that yard marker is, waiting for that pile. You rarely ever see this overturned.
It's a tough challenge, and I appreciate it. The Eskimo coaching staff saw that angle, that shot down the line.
So here is the verdict from CFL command.
Edmonton challenged the previous play for the spot on the field. After review, the ruling on the field stands. Montreal, first down.
So Montreal's ball, 4 Edmonton turnovers in this game, keeping the Alouettes in this game.
Not a ton of offense from the Owls, as you heard the boys talk about at halftime, but when you're starting at midfield, you don't need a lot of offense to put points on the board. They have that opportunity right here.
Antonio Pipkin needs to go to work. Talked about the checkdowns. Here comes the rush, and he's going down. Down hard. Big sack. Another one by the Eskimos. Josh Johnson has Antonio Pipkin in his crosshairs and buries him.
Well, the Alouettes are hoping to get their running back, William Stanback, matched up in space. He had the linebacker, Corey Jones, one-on-one on him out there. That's the matchup they want to take. They've emptied out the backfield, but in emptying out the backfield, rushers outnumber blockers, and they couldn't get that ball away fast enough.
13-yard loss. Play clock coming down to 1. And Pipkin's hurting. You can see him hobbling, but he throws it in for Posey, 5 yards short of a first down. And Antonio Pipkin with a flag in the backfield. And I'm not sure this guy can continue on here. He's limping like crazy.
You see Vernon Adams Jr., the number 2 man on the depth chart, getting loose just in case.
Illegal block, hands to the face. Montreal, number 66. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Yeah, Pipkin is really struggling here. It's from that previous play. Sack by Johnson. And his first start of 2019. That doesn't look good. Kahari Jones watching. Knows that feeling. Vernon Adams is going to be coming in here. I hope he's okay. Tough to watch on opening night. Pipkin going to the sidelines. Farhan will give us a report shortly. 7 of 17, 57 yards, a touchdown, and he has been chased down by the green and gold. And watch his foot, his ankle here. So Vernon Adams in. Adams has experience, of course. He actually had more experience than Pipkin. First pass is caught by B.J. Cunningham. Second and lengthy. And so Pipkin in pain on the sideline. That is daunting on opening night.
You can see they seem to be looking at that right ankle. To get rolled up a little bit as he was brought down. Certainly hope that it's not too serious for Antonio Pipkin.
And for the Alouettes, who have had this rotation of quarterbacks. Every time the music stops, another quarterback comes in through the years. You name it. They have had it happen to them. Through injury or lack of performance. There's a kick right at the goal line, and that is not a good play there by Jordan Robinson. He should have let that go. Wow. It almost looked like he came out now and was pushed back into the end zone for a moment.
Yeah, I mean, this is what it certainly looked like it was going to bounce in. Beautiful placement of the ball by Boris Beatty.
They are going to put it at the 1 yard line.
Yeah, this is
that is
a ball
perfect.
that I would not have fielded if I were the returner.
Working on that ankle area. 54-yard kick by Beatty. This is the longest field for Trevor Harris. See how he navigates this now for the Eskimos. Up 18-8. CJ Gable pummeled there. Patrick Levels, Enoch Mwamba. You think the Alouettes have had some significant upgrades on defense this year?
Yeah, I think they have definitely improved their talent. You bring in, as you said, a couple of Grey Cup champions to help you out on that field side and Levels at the nickel linebacker spot. Deontay Evans at halfback. I like the presence of Taylor Loeffler at free safety, and I'm a Bo Lacumbo fan too, and I'm very curious to see how he does given an opportunity to be an every down play.
Harris for his safety valve, just like old times. Trevor to Greg.
The reliability of Greg Ellingson and the knowledge that he and Harris have of one another, understanding that they're going to see defenses very similarly make the same reads.
As you said, Ottawa West. Trevor Harris, who came to the Eskimos. Ellingson coming as well in the offseason. Tell you what, helped the Eskimos a lot. Ottawa Red Blacks. Very tough to replace a guy like Greg Ellingson. And Harris, who is, again, tossing a 300-yard night. Got his team out of the shadows. Gable. What a luxury that is to have that kind of medium-range running back on second down.
Plenty of good physical runs for C.J. Gable. Here tonight, we're sort of seeing everything in his repertoire. We talked about the patience and the vision earlier, some quick cuts, bursts of speed, lowering the shoulders to run through people.
Harris to Ellingson again. Big night for C.J. Gable.
Up to 91 yards on the ground.
All the concern that the Eskimos had in the offseason about maybe a lack of productivity, especially when you lose an MOP type player, a superstar in Mike Riley. Picking up right where they left off. Harris is doing it. Tight spiral. Kenny Stafford again. Bang, bang, bang.
The Ellingson-Harris combination was all the talk coming in, but we've got Kenny Stafford and Ricky Collins having pretty good nights here as well.
Kenny, 2 touchdowns, 19-yard reception into Montreal territory at the 45. There goes CJ. Loeffler brings him down. Close to another first down, and yes, it will be. They will move the chains.
You've got to love, from an Edmonton Eskimo perspective, the balance that CJ Gable and that offensive line are providing with the run game. Everybody knows it's going to be a productive passing offense, but they're doing a good job of not being predictable, keeping the defense off balance, forcing them to honor that run game.
Harris putting up a beauty here tonight in his first game with the Eskimos. Final play, third quarter. A J might move the sticks again. Yeah, that's the third quarter. Eskimos leading by 10 on Friday Night Football as we head to the fourth at the Brickfield. Edmonton Eskimos, 4 turnovers, but it hasn't affected their lead right now. They lead by 10 against the Montreal Alouettes. Looks like Antonio Pipkin might come back, but all the talk in the offseason was, how do you replace Mike Riley? The Eskimos go out and get a bona fide potential all-star quarterback in Trevor Harris, who did great things in Ottawa and has brought them west, quite obviously, here tonight.
Yeah, Trevor Harris is right at home. Obviously, a lot of the concepts within the offense are going to be very similar. Jason Moss having been the previous offensive coordinator in Ottawa before moving to this head coaching position in Edmonton. So while I think some of the terminology, as Jason Moss and Trevor Harris say, a lot of the communication is different, but conceptually based on the same things. So you're seeing a pretty smooth transition for Trevor Harris.
Looks like Pipkin might be ready to go. Harris, though, looking to throw a dagger. Maybe. Yes, oh, what a catch. Touchdown. CJ Gable.
Well, I thought that was Fred Stamps wearing number 2 for a second with that catch.
On Fred Stamps' night, where the catch is spectacular as Freddie Stamps. CJ Gable. Outstanding grab, highlight reel. Here he comes.
Yeah, free release from the backfield. Trevor Harris lays it on him. Just over the head of the linebacker, Jean-Gabriel Poulin. Perfectly placed ball, CJ Gable. Tremendous catch. He's always been a fantastic receiver.
He had a couple of highlight reel catches, catch and runs mostly last year. Great hands, finds the end zone, and now the Eskimos open it up. Will be some seriously bad news for the Alouettes, who were 1-9 last year when trailing after 3 quarters and have not offered much up offensively. Trevor Harris, another touchdown toss. What a striking debut.
Concentration, the over-the-shoulder fingertip grab. CJ Gable.
How about that drive, 40? Remember where that started, the 1-yard line.
Yeah, they were backed up. Started with a handoff to Gable.
I love y'all.
Now Steph Logan trying to ignite his Alouettes up near the 30. So it is Vernon Adams. Pipkin is still on the sideline and trying to stretch things out. But Vernon Adams, keep in mind, has more experience than Antonio Pipkin. Lost the starting battle to Pipkin, but was in the league a couple of years before Antonio Pipkin, and certainly has the resume, especially at the NCAA level.
Vernon Adams Jr. Former Walter Payton Award winner as a top player at the 1AA level. He was with Eastern Washington, then transferred.
Flag downfield here, and might be some sort of
illegal contact. Edmonton, number 11.
Yep.
10-yard penalty, first down.
Alouettes catch a break here. Need a few breaks, down 25-8.
Adams is a guy who came into the Canadian Football League with huge expectations. People were obviously well aware of his exploits south of the border and recognized that this was a guy whose skill set would probably be more tailored to the Canadian game than to the National Football League.
Williams stand back, look out, track meet. Down near the 25, his biggest run of the new season. Freight train. Williams stand back.
Well, good play call here when was blocked by BJ Cunningham on Taekwon Glass to wall him off right here. Pin him to the inside, just enough to allow Stanback to get around the corner. I think the Eskimos were thinking that the Alouettes at this point would have to start putting the football in the air. They caught him off guard on the run.
Adams. Ryan Jr. Cunningham, B.J. Cunningham, longtime Al, former Michigan State Spartan, coming from an Oregon Duck. Vernon Adams Jr. Played at Eastern Washington. Vernon Adams came into the CFL, missed a lot of fanfare and even controversy.
Well, I mean, this was a guy who originally his negotiation list rights were owned by the BC Lions before he had even played a game in the league. BC couldn't come to a contract agreement with him, traded his rights to Montreal for a first-round pick, which is something you typically don't see, trading that high a pick for a negless player.
Alouettes, early fourth quarter, find a way to score here, down in the score zone, the red zone. First and 10. Near the 17.5-yard line. Still make this interesting. Here comes the blitz. And Adams, avoids one, escapes again, and Vernon Adams takes a huge shot to the head. And that will bring this ball down near the 1-yard line at 15 on here, as Adams was in a very awkward position and took a huge shot from Vontae Diggs.
And everybody has been critical of the Simone Lawrence hit last night.
Did he get him in the
Zach
helmet?
Collaros.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Adams.
Yeah, I think the speed
here
of this play, I think Diggs did a decent job of kind of going over top of him and limiting the contact.
Adams, the only hit to the helmet was the helmet hitting the turf after he slipped. And so
when you see that at live speed,
it looked bad.
But Adams kind of, it looked almost like he dropped his head back after the play.
Yeah, here it is here in live speed. And Adams stretching back. Now they just showed this on the big screen, so get Vontae Diggs.
Yeah, I think Diggs did a pretty good job of avoiding.
I'll give him some credit for avoiding that hit. Still the penalty, takes it down to the 5-yard line. First and goal. Stand back, plows, scores, touchdown, Alouettes.
Well, he's the man with the biggest play on the drive, fitting that he should score the touchdown. As the Alouettes, despite their offensive struggles, keep themselves in the ball game. Great response. With this drive, Vernon Adams at the helm. He and William stand back on the ground, doing most of the damage in the march downfield.
Stand back brings the Owls back. Beatty, the point after.
Hey, stop playing with me.
Make this a 10-point game, and oh boy, that was close. Possession ball game. Lots of time left. Al's still in, hanging in. Vernon Adams, stand back, couple of big runs, including a touchdown on Friday Night Football.
On Coors Light answering the call, we wondered what kind of debut Trevor Harris would have in Edmonton. There's your answer. 30 of 36. 387 yards, 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions so far. Not bad in green and gold to get it started. Back to Rod and Dwayne.
All right, thank you, Rod. There he is, William Stanback. Man of the moment for the Alouettes. They need more moments, though, and some momentum. Maybe here. Jordan Robinson spun backwards in a long field again for Trevor Harris. All those numbers that Rod was talking about, and still the Alouettes are still biting at the heels of the Eskimos.
Hanging around, and that's where we talked about the turnovers. Usually you talk about the turnover battle dictating the outcome of a game.
Stand back watching on the tablet.
There with running back coach Andre Bolduc.
So now Trevor Harris.
But, you know, usually those turnovers dictate the outcome of the game, but Edmonton's offense has been so productive, they've kind of overcome that, but you're seeing those turnovers keeping the score close.
And maybe
procedure,
40.
Edmonton, number 64, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
This Alouette defense
Timer,
starting to gather a little steam too here.
Well, this is a huge opportunity for the Alouette defense. If they can get a stop, you look at the field position, 1st and 15. Now to start the drive for Edmonton, you have an opportunity to give your offense a short field with a little bit of momentum.
Time count violation. And incompletion. Harris dusted. So now a huge second down. 2nd and 15. In Ottawa, usually you knew where Trevor Harris was going. Usually 82.
Maybe 88.
Or 88.
But he's not here.
He ain't here. Will it be 82? Kenny Stafford's been good tonight. Ricky Collins also. Let's see where he goes on 2nd down. Stepping up. And one hops it over to Vaughn Smith. And now the Eskimos have to kick from deep. 3rd down and 15, and the Alouettes have suddenly sprung to life. Trying to get a win for Kahari Jones in his first game as a new head coach. Now will Hugh O'Neill, who's got a very strong leg, boot this out or give up 2. The veteran, number 0. 0's a number. Steph Logan goes backwards now. It's a big block, but that's going to come back. Illegal block now, and Logan picks his way down the sideline and down inside the 20, but an illegal block way back near the 50. We'll bring that back. Vernon Adams trying to bring his team back in relief.
Don't miss the return of the Emmy-winning series critics call addictive and beautifully acted. Big Little Lies, now streaming only on Crave. Subscribe now at crave.ca.
That was one of the best grad promos early in the season. You've been warming up in the offseason, haven't you?
I take the promos very seriously, Rod.
And you should.
I mean, the show it's addictive and beautifully acted.
And you know what? The thing about that promo, you did not read that promo.
No, that was just off the top of my head.
Oh, what a play here. And downfield for B.J. Cunningham.
Fantastic effort from Cunningham along the sideline.
Alouettes, watch this. Great read option.
Yeah, well, you saw the contained man crash, respecting the run after Williams Stanback gashed the Eskimos on the last drive. That allows Adams to get outside to throw that one.
Adams, oh, what a juke there. Larry Dean had him going one way, and Vernon Adams starting to crank it up here after that one-handed catch by B.J. Cunningham for 27. Pickup of almost 5.5 here for Vernon Adams.
Suddenly it's the Eskimo defense that seems to be a little bit off balance.
Well, Vernon Adams again been down this road before, and really, I'm sure did not want to be the guy second in command. And here he goes again, throws on the roll, another good catch. And a first down for the Alouettes. And that's the first catch of the night from Eugene Lewis. An important one, moves it into the red zone.
You see Vernon Adams using his legs, his mobility to extend the play as he's under pressure from Vontae Diggs.
Juggling at hot potato. Oklahoma Sooner brings it in. Former most outstanding player back in 2001. Kahari Jones as quarterback of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Now a head coach in the Canadian Football League. His team down 10. And a substitution here. Coming off the field is Josh Johnson.
Perhaps
might be
concern from the spotters above.
Yeah, maybe concern above. So he was tagged out from the 17. Adams, time, end zone, and it is caught. What a catch! B.J. Cunningham touchdown. And here come the Alouettes. How about that 50-50 ball?
Yeah, we had the stand-back drive for the last touchdown. This one's all about B.J. Cunningham. He's the middle receiver just inside the numbers. Number 85 will stop and go, gets the defensive back to set his feet. Taekwon Glass, and then goes up and gets it for his quarterback, Vernon Adams.
How about this? Alouettes spring to life. Here in the fourth, B.J. Cunningham wrestles that ball away. Boris Beatty, important point after, makes it a 3-point game here at the Brickfield in Commonwealth. What a thriller we've got now on our first Friday Night Football of 2019. B.J. goes up and gets it, takes it away, and scores.
Well, Vernon Adams Jr. sharing the moment with B.J. Cunningham. A couple of big catches for Cunningham on that drive, most notably the touchdown catch. Right down the pipe to the veteran slot back.
All right, look at Kahari Jones on the sideline. And Vernon Adams coming off the sideline, replacing Antonio Pipkin. And now the Eskimos are on their heels midway through the fourth. Jordan Robinson nowhere to go. So Kahari Jones, one of the things that he's talked about since taking over only a week ago is about his team playing with some fire, playing with some passion.
I'm kind of a quiet and joyful guy. I love life, but I got a big fire in me, and I think the players see that, and I want them to see that passion that I have for winning. I want them to see the passion that I have for competing. When I was out there, I loved taking people's hearts. I loved it. It was one of my favorite things is finding a DB or finding a corner or a free safety that I didn't think should be out there and going after it. And I want our team to have that mentality.
Well, he was an assassin as a quarterback, MOP. And you can see again, you talk to Kahari Jones, the guy away from the field is completely different than the guy we see on the field. And he is a player's coach as well. Kenny Stafford, another big play for the Eskimos. Digs them out of a bit of a hole. And C.J. Gable. Good night for the running backs, 40.
Yeah, they've impressed both of these guys, C.J. Gable and William Stanback. Guys with somewhat similar styles. You know, the complete package, combination of physical play with that knack for making people miss. Willing to stick their noses in there and block. Both good receivers out of the backfield.
First down, Edmonton, their opening night. First time that these two teams have tangled on opening night. It's 2004 at Montreal. It's their fourth meeting all time. It's not the stereotypical opener for either side. Harris using the clock too. Oh, another one by Gable as he dodges and cuts.
That's nice first down production for the Edmonton Eskimos. Situation where you know the defense is expecting the run, but they're able to produce just the same. McCarty washing things down on the backside to create a cutback lane for Gable.
Trevor Harris, as we've seen in the live mic games, so vocal, barks those signals out.
Timeout, Edmonton.
And the Eskimos use a timeout here. Obviously, Jason Moss didn't like something that he saw in that configuration. That timeout came from the sideline. Harris, who comes from a football family, coaching family, his dad coached. Says that he'd like to coach someday. Kind of born a leader in many ways. Over 400 yards passing in his opener tonight, his debut with the Eskimos. And there's another first down, not passing that time, handing it off. So it's his fourth time that he's ever gone over 400 yards passing. Gable going over 100 yards in rushing. Productive night. Clock bleeds down to 5 minutes.
The Eskimos have done a nice job on this possession of grabbing back momentum that they had lost. Here in the fourth quarter, a couple of scoring drives back-to-back for the Montreal Alouettes. The Eskimos have got things settled down, slowed down the pace.
Ricky Collins had a big night wearing Mike Riley's old number, 13. His Eskimo first start. So second down, and this is a key down here at this stage of the game.
Well, it is ideally, if you're Edmonton, you'd like to hold on to the football, continue to move it. But again, the fact that to this point, you've flipped the field a little bit in terms of that field position. You've eaten up some time on the clock, and you've given your defense a chance to rest. So this has been a successful drive already, as far as I'm concerned, for the Eskimos.
Harris reels everybody back, changes the play, draw play, and that was spied perfectly. What a play here by the Alouettes at the perfect time defensively. And the drive will stall for the Eskimos as Antonio Simmons brings down C.J. Gable, the shoestring tackle.
And number 93, Simmons, coming hard off the edge from his defensive end spot.
Indeed, finishes.
Takes a little bit of a gamble, jumping inside on the play, anticipating the run. If that was one where Trevor Harris had pulled the ball and booted outside, he'd have had all kinds of room.
The Eskimos, for all of their production offensively tonight, are clinging to a three-point lead and have to boot it away. Hugh O'Neill. Oh, this is a monster punt. Steph Logan brought down by And Money Hunter. That's money. James Barker Band. Tom Cochran just came up to say hi to us.
Montreal. Did.
Icon, legend, played at halftime. It's great to see Tom. That song Big League, such a tribute now to those in Humboldt. And life is a highway. The fans enjoying it here. The big band, part of the CFL season.
Timer, please reset the game clock to 3 minutes and 12 seconds.
So what do you think here the MO is offensively? Clock ticking down to the 3-minute warning. And you got a real shot here if you're Kahari Jones.
Yeah, and I think when you're Kahari Jones, I think the message to your young quarterbacks remains the same. As we know in the Canadian Football League, 3 minutes is a world of time. Yeah. And so you're not in a situation where you need to force the ball downfield, where you need the big play. And this has been a lot of his messaging to his quarterback. Take those checkdowns, take what they give you, make the simple throws, and put together drives. They have time to do it, and they've done it back-to-back here.
Loads of time for Adams, who took a shot and then takes a shot downfield. Once again, it's Lewis. Vernon Adams.
Great protection, great patience. You know, I mean, this is a ball thrown down the field, but this isn't a ball forced down the field. You see the levels here. You'll see Eugene Lewis was wide open when Vernon Adams threw this ball. He threw the ball. He wasn't under duress. He's got good protection. He's got time. Lays it in there to a wide open receiver. Take what they give you. That's what they gave you.
Sewell with the shot. Lewis, 31-yarder. Adams is 6 for 6 since he came in. Now a little pump fake. 7 for 7. And William Stanback sprung here. And suddenly very quiet at the brick field in Edmonton. Stanback takes the ball down to the 45-yard line. Clock comes down to 2:38. Clock comes down to the 3-minute warning. And the Alouettes could shock the Eskimos, who had a big lead here in the second half. It's been narrowed down to 3.
Well, Larry Dean did a great job recognizing that play, but maybe just a split second too late. Watch the Edmonton middle linebacker just to the left of the goalpost. He's coming through on the blitz, but he sees when Stanback kind of bounces off him, he recognizes what's going on, but just Stanback does a good job off of that, creating a little bit of separation as he spins off that block to slide away from Dean to escape and create a first down play.
Stanback has been a beast in the second half, and Adams has been sensational off the bench. This one up for grabs to no one in particular.
It looked like the throw got away from Adams, but you know, it was in the air long enough that I think Lewis might have had time to get there, but it looked like he lost the ball
I think
for
he
a
lost
second.
it in the lights. So now a key second down. If the Eskimos can hold here, that would bring out Boris Beatty. He's got a big leg. Has missed a field goal attempt already here tonight. Adams on second down, 7 of 8. Really good in relief here. Here comes the house. Adams slinging it up for grabs, and it should have been picked.
This is a terrific play by DeVere Posey. We've seen him with some big catches in this ball game, but this is an absolutely massive play because he reacts and becomes a defender. He sees the defender's got a clear shot to catch this football as Adams, under pressure, throws it up the middle. Watch Posey reach and swat. He's just trying to knock that ball free.
As our friend Jack Armstrong would say,
get that garbage out of here.
And it's still basketball season somewhere. The day after, magical night for the Raptors. 2:18 to go. Beatty 0 for 1, missed from 34. Big leg though. This to tie the ball game from the 52.5-yard line. Here is the kick. It is up, and this looks good. It is good. Huge one here, and we are square at 25.
What a fourth quarter for Vernon Adams and the Montreal Alouettes.
Stunning the Eskimos, who looked like they were well in control. And Boris Beatty with his holder Matthew Schiltz and Antonio Pipkin supplying the support as well. Now a cheerleader on the sidelines.
There's that fire from Kahari Jones. He said he wanted them to compete regardless of the score. And a lot of people might have thought this football game was well on its way to being over early in the fourth quarter. But the Montreal Alouettes, as their coach implored them before the game, continued to compete. And we got ourselves a ball game.
Yes, we do. Goes Kahari. The Alouettes have not beaten the Edmonton Eskimos in 6 years. An Eskimo 10-game win streak. The last Montreal win, October 6th, 2013.
I know. You got it up.
And it was here in northern Alberta. But it's not over yet. The Eskimos put the ball in the hands. Trevor Harris for a 2-minute offense. Looking for a return from Jordan Robinson. He might have a return here. He might have a return here. Finally brought down at the 40. Good starting point for Edmonton. He's had a sparkling debut as an Eskimo. 31 of 39, over 400. 3 touchdowns for Trevor Harris. Can he lead his Eskimos to his first win? An out pattern. Stafford couldn't sprint that down, and another critical second down here. The Alouettes could get the ball back.
Yeah, second and long, an opportunity to put on the pressure for the Montreal Alouettes defense. 2 and out would be massive here for the Owls defense, as it would give their offense time.
Eskimos 17 for 24 on second down. This one successful. Collins all the way down near the 25-yard line. Huge play. Ricky Collins Jr. 45-yard pass and run play to number 13.
Yeah, and you look, as it feels like the noose is tightening for the Edmonton Eskimos. Trevor Harris steps up with all sorts of confidence and just throws a dart to Ricky Collins Jr. down the seam.
Another guy who's been here before. Now a chance to really milk the clock a little bit too. 1:42. You don't have to take it to the end zone right away. Give the Alouettes a chance. This is what they'll do. Now C.J. Gable breaks through down inside the 5-yard line. Huge night for C.J. 24-yard romp.
And Alouette defense feeling suddenly rocked by the jolt of that clutch throw from Harris to Ricky Collins.
Now teetering near the goal line. Near the 2-yard line. Gable over 140 yards rushing. Eskimos look to score. They will. It was almost as if the Alouettes wanted them to score here right away so they could have more time on the clock. That was a wave the flag, because now there's 1:07 to go. Point after upcoming, and then Vernon Adams, it's your turn to try to hold serve.
Well, you want to see a young quarterback tested under all sorts of circumstances. There's a big opportunity for Vernon Adams to see what he can do in the clutch.
Not much resistance there as Taylor Loeffler gets into it with Harris. Dante Evans, but kind of makes sense. For the score, you have to think. Maybe try to knock the ball away, but now it's up to the Owls.
Yeah, what a response to that fourth quarter adversity by Trevor Harris and the Eskimos offense.
Took less than a minute. But the Alouettes have counterpunched tonight as well, and a big touchdown drive for Trevor Harris, trying to get his first W as an Eskimo quarterback. This was enormous. Doubly enormous. And then the capper. Harris's first touchdown. Carrying the football as an Eskimo. Here's their general manager, Brock Sunderland. Boy, he had a busy winter, did he not?
Well, Brock Sunderland, part of the whole Ottawa West movement here in Edmonton, formerly the assistant GM of the Red Blacks. Jason Moss, of course, the former offensive coordinator of the Red Blacks. You know, and so their familiarity with a number of those players who helped Ottawa become successful in recent years has led them to bring some of these guys to the Edmonton Eskimos and hope they can continue that success here.
Logan. So Vernon Adams Jr., who did not start this game, but started the fire in the fourth quarter, in this second half here for the Alouettes, who were down and looked out almost, but they're not. They have a minute to go and they have to score a touchdown. They're down 17 at one point.
Well, the Alouettes have...
Blindside block. Montreal, number 80.
That's not going to make it easier.
Goal, first down.
Long, long field.
That one hurts. The Alouettes have answered the bell throughout this fourth quarter. One last chance to do so right here for Vernon Adams.
Two teams that want to get the 2019 campaign off on the right note. Did not make the playoffs last year. Now Adams going deep and looking for Posey, and it's picked off. Anthony Orange has his first in green and gold. And there are penalty flags afterwards. First game as an Eskimo. And Orange may have just sealed the deal.
And understanding you've got to push the ball a little bit here, obviously, given the timing. I felt that one might have been a bit of a force by the young quarterback, though. Posey was well covered. Orange had 5 interceptions with the BC Lions last season.
West Division All-Star.
Unnecessary roughness penalties on Montreal, number 5. We'll go up 30 yards, first down.
Well, Ari Jones will not like that. Here Posey losing some composure here after that peck by Anthony Orange. And one of Brock Sunderland's acquisitions in this offseason, and Orange coming back from shoulder surgery. This has to feel so good.
It's easy. It's light work.
Now the Eskimos can put the sails up, it seems, with 52 to go. Team that last year 6-3 and then finished 3-6. Tight race in the West and ended up on the outside looking in. So here's a last gasp from Kahari Jones, likely looking on some interference or perhaps roughing the passer.
Montreal is challenging the previous play for roughing the passer. the play will be reviewed.
And maybe it is roughing the passer, and if it is, this could change the complexion again. Let's take a look.
Yeah, keep an eye on Nick Usher here. He's going to come all the way around the horn. And he'll be the guy chasing Vernon Adams from behind as he steps up in the pocket.
What do you think?
You know, I'm not sold. To me,
no.
Usher has kind of launched himself into the tackle before the ball is out of Adams' hand. I mean,
we've seen it called before.
Yeah, you can make an argument that he sees the ball go and continues with the tackle, but
I'm not sure that this.
Yeah, like you can see him starting to lunge into that tackle.
And even Vernon Adams is even concerned about that tackle. He's looking downfield. Usher, the crusher. Let's see if this
After review,
will hold.
the ruling on the field stands. First down, Edmonton.
Likely game over here now with 52 to go. The Eskimos need to put up their first win of 2019. How about next week? We're out here for this one. Guess who's coming back to town?
You know it, Mike Riley's return.
Tomorrow night, Riley has the Blue Bombers. C.J. Gable goes hurtling through the air. Montreal has a bye next week. In Hamilton, June 28th, and likely looking for their first win unless something really unforeseen happens here. What a debut for number 7.
Yeah, fantastic for Trevor Harris. 447 yards passing. That's 41 from his career high.
Won't be throwing it here. Gable. And carries a pile. Wow, and he got some help from his offensive line. The mighty Convoy rocks through the night.
Yeah, you usually like for those guys to be pushing from in front of you, but at this stage of the game, you'll take that boost from either side. You see a little of the piggyback blocks.
And this will put the W in the column. Final play coming up. Now, the last time Trevor Harris played on this field was the Grey Cup game, and he lost, and he wore red and black. And in the offseason, he went west, came to Edmonton under Jason Moss, and in his first game as an Eskimo, put up gigantic numbers. And a hang on in the fourth, though, and he is our Nissan Titan player of the game.
Spoiler alert, Rod Black.
Do you think he was spoiling anything? Who else was getting it, man?
447 yards through the air.
Who else was
3 touchdown passes. A tremendous debut. I don't know if anybody's saying Mike who, but Trevor Harris definitely made his own mark here in Edmonton in his first game for the green and gold. And with that, he is our nice Nissan Titan player of the game.
Official vehicle of the CFL. Yes, he is. And what could be here in Edmonton? That's the great mystery of this game. 17 more to go in the regular season. The Eskimos get win number 1. Devere Posey's not happy. Kahari Jones still looking for his first win as a head coach. Final score here tonight, 32-25. Eskimos, we've got a doubleheader tomorrow. Rematch of the Grey Cup game. And then in BC, blue and gold against the orange and the Lions. Salute to Fred Stamps. And how about C.J. Gable wearing that number? Good night, everybody. Here's Sports Center.